band. I know we could seem messy and dysfunctional at times, but this is our crazy, messy, dysfunctional family. And what is wrong with them?
Hey, my Zatima's fans. So we back at it, people. The new season of Zatima has started. Ah, man, what can I say? So far, so good, people. So far, so good. The first 2 episodes, I want to say, was basically based off of picking up from where we left off when we all thought Fatima may have gotten shot. But that actually did not happen, which I already knew because I seen clips of, some pictures and some clips of the new season, and Fatima was in the hospital. So I personally knew that she didn't actually get shot. So before I start this review, I would like for you guys to like, share, and subscribe. This will be my first review of the new season 4. So let's just get right into this. So the scene picks off where they left off at, where Fatima is on the floor. Zach runs over. Fatima tells him she's okay. And basically she just slipped and fell. Now, for me, that part, people, I'm like, she just slipped. Right, anyway. So she tells Zach that she basically just slipped and fell. But right now she is going through having like many, I want to say sort of contractions a little bit. She's cramping real bad. So Angela now goes and calls 911. When Angela calls 911, I'm like, girl, why the hell Angela says, my girl just got shot? Like, what, girl? That's not how you call 911 and tell them that your friend is hurt. But okay. I don't know why they threw that in there when they was right in this scene. But Angela goes and calls the cops, and she goes and calls 911. Everybody is panicking. 911 gets there, and Angela tells her, well, the EMS, one of the EMS workers come in, and he was like, oh, we thought somebody got shot. So Angela tells her it's a mistake. They run right over to Fatima, and they try to help her. Zach is in a panic. He's worried about Fatima. He's hoping everything is okay. So in between that scene, we see, right after that scene, we see Zach tuck his chain in and take off his shirt. So we already knew what was about to go down. He looking for Jeremiah at this point. So Jeremiah, it goes to Jeremiah talking to Tony and Nathan, and Connie comes at him like, oh yeah, you really messed up. Like, come on. You almost got Fatima killed. You got her shot at. And, that was crazy. So then we got Belinda that brings in the cops and tell them that Jeremiah was the one that started the whole commotion. We see Zach fly over and try to knock Jeremiah out. Nate and Tony grab Zach, and the only one who's really holding him is Preston, right? So Preston is holding him like, Zach, come on, stop, man. You don't need to go to jail. Zach is very upset. He tells Jeremiah he basically never wants to see him again. So they move from there. Fatima is now headed to the hospital. Angela stays behind because Zach asks her to stay behind to clean up. As they leave, Zach and Fatima, Zach goes with Fatima to the hospital, and Angela again stays behind to clean up. Bryce tells Angela, would you like for me to stay with you? Because, it's a little dangerous out here. Angela looking at Bryce like, well, what are you going to do? Even if you did stay. That's basically what she was looking at, how she was looking at Bryce. But, so Bryce decides he will leave. Angela stays behind again, and she cleans up. So we leave from that part, and we go to Zach is now in the hospital with Fatima. So basically, people, Fatima and Zach is just really, Zach is telling her, how she, he was worried, and, he got to get her some protection. The doctor comes in and tells Fatima that she really needs to rest, especially after this episode, after this scene that happened, everything that happened in their house. And Fatima, as usual, she's just worried about she has to work. That was basically what this was all about. At this point, we don't see Fatima showing Because remember, people, this is directly after the shooting. So Fatima tells Zach, she's explaining to him, I don't want you to get into any type of trouble. Again, I can understand why Zach is worried about Fatima and her safety at this point. So the scene leaves off basically with Zach in the hospital, and this scene leaves off with Zach talking to her or whatever in the hospital. After that, we go right over to, we go back to Angela. Angela is having a conversation with Belinda, and Belinda is explaining to Angela that she's really worried about Fatima, and she's really, really worried about Fatima. And I feel like she was being sincere. I would hope so. I guess we have to see going forward on the show if Belinda is being honest here. But for me, I felt like she was being very honest in this situation and how she really felt, which was different from, the whole situation that was going on with her and Fatima from before. So after that, we get Zach, who walks in the waiting room, and he explains to Nate, Tony, and Belinda that Fatima is okay. She kind of just needs to be on bed rest. But Zach asks Nate, what is Belinda doing there? Now, I thought this was going to go somewhere else, this conversation, but Zach kind of did calm down. And, Belinda was really behind Zach getting at Jeremiah. So Zach didn't really come at Belinda too hard. He kind of understood, and he felt like Belinda did seem like she was a little bit worried about Fatima. So we move on from there. Zach explains to them that he's just going to go back with Fatima. They can all calm down and they can go, basically they can leave. He's just going to stay with Fatima. She'll be home tomorrow. So Zach goes back in the room with Fatima. And again, guys, they're talking about her safety at this point. Fatima is just really worried about work because, again, people, I'll leave that for later on in this episode, in this review. But Fatima is just worried about getting back to work, and she needs to really go on that rest. The writers has been having Zach and Fatima going through so much drama. I'm like, when is this drama going to be over? This is ridiculous. That's the only thing I'm thinking about. So this was episode 1. So boom, we hop over to episode 2. No, before we hop over to episode 2, in episode 1, before the episode ends, we see Angela cleaning up. All of a sudden, we see Leslie walking. Now, how the hell does Leslie have keys to get in Fatima's house? I do not know. But Angela notices that she just walked in, and she tells Leslie that she, basically she better explain how she just got up in there before she kick her out. Leslie gives her this bogus story like, oh, I got keys. Fatima gave it to me after what happened with Jeremiah, the last time she gave her keys. Now, why would she give you keys? Anyway, Angela kind of looked, still was looking at her sideways or whatever, but I don't think Angela believed it. But the scene ends on that note. So then, bam, we go over to episode 2. So episode 2 starts off with Zach setting up a picture, one of Zach and Fatima's pictures on the wall. And then boom, Fatima turns around and our girl is pregnant. The people, Fatima looks like she is about to have the baby. That's how big her belly is. And they gave her a big belly. Well, a lot of people are saying I'm glad they didn't waste time with Fatima, and we're already seeing her showing. And yeah, I totally agree with that too. So this little part right here was hilarious. So they go downstairs. Zach is complaining as usual. Fatima is telling him that he has not done anything in the house, and the crib is not together, and this and that is not together, and they have company. And I said, wait a minute, they have company? Who the hell is there? I think she meant to say they're having company later. But sometimes with Tyler Perry, sometimes they do say the wrong lines and they actually just leave it. But sometimes a lot of us do catch it. Like, wait a minute, girl, what company y'all got? Ain't nobody there. You mean y'all having company later? That's what I realized she meant to say, So as they're downstairs going backwards and forwards, reminding me of Martin and Gina. they all of a sudden get a knock at the door. Once they get a knock at the door, it's a server. Now, this part was a little bit funny as well because Fatima was trying to signal to Zach. Once somebody rung the doorbell, Fatima went to the door. She opens the door. She already know that it's a server. It's a server that is serving them papers, custody battle papers from Heather's aunt, right? So Fatima knows what it is, and she's trying to signal to Zach to not come to the door. She was basically probably going to tell them that Zach wasn't there, right? It probably wouldn't stop the guy from serving him, but she was trying to, but Zach didn't notice it, and he kind of just came to the door like, why are you shushing me away? It was hilarious. So Zach goes to the door. The server gives him the paper. When the server leaves, they open up the letter, and Fatima already knew he was being served. Zach is now stressed out. Zach is like, okay, now what's going on here? Zach doesn't even know Heather's aunt. Now, people, this is what I'm saying about Zatima and the universe of Sisters, right? Because on Sisters, when Danny asks Fatima, where is Michael? She said, we share time with Michael between his aunt and us. So now in Sisters, is this after the whole case? Do they decide to just split custody? I don't know what's happening here. Also, people, I do believe that Zach will again find out that Michael is not his son, okay? I think that Hayden had everything to do with the test result coming back that Zach is the father. Because if you notice, Heather has now disappeared. I don't know how much money she's received from Zach so far. But Heather is not around at this point. I'm like, all right, so why is Heather not fighting to get custody back of Michael? Because what it looks like is the aunt is trying to get custody of Michael and take him away from Heather and Zach. So I'm not sure what's going on this storyline on Zatima. If it's coinciding with Sisters, I'm not sure, people, but I wish they would make it kind of make sense with Michael, because we haven't been seeing Michael on Sisters or Zatima. At this point, because it's clear he's probably not going to be a part of the show. They don't show him at all. We see Michael probably about 3 times and maybe about 2 to 3 conversations about him. So I'm not sure what's going on here. It's not really making sense. But as they are having the conversation about Fatima's telling Zach, I'm going to have your back no matter what. And we already know that. So, boom, we go over to Angela and Bryce. Bryce comes over to tell Angela that he has found a way to delete basically all of her pictures offline and all of her videos. So Angela is happy. She gives him a big hug. And she said he can stay over for breakfast, right? But I don't know what they doing with Angela and Bryce. Like, are they going to be together or not? Because I don't know. At this point, I could do without their scenes. Their love scenes, I could kind of do without that. Because either they're going to be together or not. So we go back to Zach and Fatima. Zach is sitting on his couch. He's stressed. Fatima comes downstairs like, babe, what's going on? And Zach kind of gets irritated with her from asking. And Fatima's like, well, calm down. I'm just asking. Zach is like, okay, let me calm down. Now, at this point, we got our boy worried again about what is going to happen with them, with his situation with Michael. That's like, Zach can't get a break. I am exhausted with this whole Zach being in a situation and Fatima trying to help him out of it or supporting him through it. Like, let our boy get some time to kind of just be in a happy space. So while they're sitting there, they have the cutest scene where Zach rubs Fatima's stomach. He feels the baby kick because remember with Karen, guys, he wasn't feeling anything. So after that, she puts him in a better mood. Then boom, we go to Fatima getting ready to go to yoga. Fatima is getting ready to go to yoga. And who she runs into? Deja. I said, oh my God, there go Deja. Here we go. Deja is hilarious, people. I don't see her ever not being on this show. She brings like that real crazy comedy, especially between her and Fatima. It is too cute. She tells Fatima, oh, Fatima, you look cute, girl. And your belly is big. You look like you're about to pop. I said, oh no, she didn't. Fatima gets on her as usual, and you know, guys, they going backwards and forwards. So then, boom. Next part, we go over to Angela. We go over to Connie. Connie is doing her chemo therapy, but while she's sitting there, the doctor told her that Connie is missing her chemo sessions. And Connie explains to him that she's missing her chemo sessions because she has nobody to watch her children. Now, at this point with Connie, I'm not sure, where is the kid's father at? Does Connie have any family? We need like some back information on Connie, aside from Connie used to be with Zach, that's his ex, and she got kids, and the baby father is clearly just not around. But does she have any family? I don't know. So this part right here was sad. I'm hoping that Connie makes it through it and she's not going out the show. But the doctor explains that she asks the doctor how much more time she has. The doctor assures her that, Connie, I believe that you can beat this. You just have to be here and do your chemotherapy, right? So we leave from there, and boom, we go to Angela and Fatima. They go to yoga. So when they go to yoga, they have a conversation about Bryce. Fatima's like, oh yeah, you know, I don't want to hear too much about it. Angela says to Fatima, you know, basically talking about Michael. Now, even Angela told Fatima, you know what, girl, maybe are you sure those test results came back right when they tested Michael? So Fatima's like, well, yeah, I did the test myself. And I'm like, girl, Fatima, because you did the test yourself does not mean that it couldn't have been tampered with. Because if you guys remember, that test went back to the law firm, which is where Hayden works at, which is where surprisingly Heather hired Hayden as her lawyer. How was Heather able to do that with no money? How was Heather able to find Zach? Talking about she hired a private investigator, but she has no money. Just wasn't making sense. So I'm glad Angela said that to Fatima, and I think they put that in there just because I think that Zach may take another blood test on Michael. For some reason, I think that's coming. So Fatima is just, I guess she's really convinced because she did the test. So it's like, yeah, girl, I don't know. I believe they're going to get another test done. So then we go back to Zach. Zach is online on the computer. So he gets a phone call from Connie. Connie, I'm just like, Connie, can you please just tell him, like, at this point, girl, what are you scared of? I can understand that she probably feels like Zach is going through a lot. I don't want to put that on him and Fatima as well. Fatima's pregnant. He's going through a lot. He might not, you know, I don't want to put that stress on him. So maybe that's what it is. So Connie has this conversation with Zach, but she does not tell him about her situation. So then Zach gets, next part is Zach gets on the phone with Preston. Preston tells him that he needs to come to the office basically so they can go over some paperwork and stuff like that. So the ending part of this was too cute. Zach asked Fatima, can he rub her feet? Can he rub her back? And then boom, he says, can I? You know what, people? She like, come on, boy, you could put me to sleep. That was too cute. That was the end of episode 2. So, I mean, that was the end of episode 1. So that was still episode 1. Well, no, that was episode 2. I'm sorry, people. That was the end of episode 2. So basically, my thoughts on episode 1 and 2, it really wasn't much to it. Again, people, it was just basically Zach, Fatima. The first part is Fatima in the hospital after the shooting, where she did not get shot. The second part is boom, we see Fatima's big old belly, and everybody, I know we were all excited to see that she has a belly. Damn, really fast. So, you know, hopefully we get the birth of the baby in this season, season 4, instead of waiting till season 5. I don't know. They might push her pregnancy to season 5 though. But before the episode ends, I forgot to say, people, Tony is in the shop and he has money that he's counting. Now, from what it looks like, the young man, the part that we didn't see from episode 3, when the young man came in to rob Tony wound up shooting the young man, and I believe he passes away. He dies from the shooting. Tony is feeling a lot of guilt, so he is taking money to the young man's mother. I forgot the barber's name. He's trying to tell Tony, it's nothing you could do. You wasn't in the wrong. You was trying to protect the shop and everything. But Tony basically doesn't want to hear it. He leaves and he goes and leaves money at the door of the young man that he shot in the shop. So that's how the episode actually ends. But again, people, I think that this season is going to be very good. I see that Leslie will be in episodes 3 and 4, which I will review tomorrow. I'll have a review on that tomorrow. But what did you guys think so far about the season, about the new season 4 in the episode? Let me know in the comments. Again, guys, like, share, and subscribe. And I'll be back tomorrow for episodes 3 and 4. Stay tuned.